Hello my friends, today I'm going to show you how to make a substrate for a terrarium. I've seen lots of videos, I've even bought an actual book and I've read some of it and looked at the pictures. So let's get to it. There's some things I've used before, some things I haven't. Haven't used this before, so it's going to be a learning curve for me. Haven't used this before, another learning curve. Orchid bark, I've already had that, so there's no point in me getting any more, so that's fine. And moss, I've used it before, but not in the way that I'm going to use this now. This is worm castings. It's basically worm poo, okay, worm shit. So this is from my wormery. All I did was scoop it out. So I took it out, it's very, very wet. So I'll put it in the front room when we had the fire lit, so it was obviously the heat drying it out. It's not dry now, but it's like not sopping wet, if you know what I mean, it's moist. I believe we have to hydrate the moss. So I'm going to do that. Soil and energy before. Bit twiggier than I would have thought actually. Such a fantastic company. Everyone raves about them. Oh, here's what it is. So I'm just going to chop this up into smaller pieces. Apparently it's easy to work with and it'll make a better substrate. So we need 2 parts moss. So I'm using this as a measure. This will be 1 part. Smells really fresh actually. A bit like cut grass. So that's 1 part. That part. It's 1 part of the core, however you say it. I'm assuming that you have to wet it, so I'm putting it in this, and I think you just put the water on it gradually. As I say, I've never used it, can't say for sure how much water it even needs, so I'm going to have to go at it. So I'm going to put a bit of water on the moss as well, just to hydrate it a little bit. I'm just going to squeeze the water out and mix it in with that. Mix it in here because round is easier to mix with, as any good chef will tell you. Okay, so that's 3 parts altogether, that. A 1/4 part of orchid bark, a quarter that's the worst that can happen. Probably about right. Stuff that in. Worm castings. Oh, some worms in here. Can't see, wrong side. That's proper natural worm shit. 1/4 of charcoal. This might be messy. First things first, cup of tea before I get my hands dirty. So basically it just needs a good old mix. Pretend you're a cook and you're making, I don't know, crumble. Horticultural grit now will line the bottom of the terrarium or whatever vessel you're using. It has been washed. Incidentally, I've used rainwater. This little gadget is basically, I think it's just a bamboo skewer with a cork shoved on the end of it. Bit overpriced when you think about it, really. Just have a bottle of wine and do your own. So you need to make sure that's nice and flat. And then in goes the substrate mix. However high you want it. I've tried to use it built up at the back, just to give it a little bit of height at the back. Make sure you flatten it. And that's the substrate in. I found this in the park, just an old branch that was on the grass. So I picked it up, cut it to size. Well, husband cut it to size. Because it's wood, it's an idea if you put springtails in. These eat any mouldy bits because it will go mouldy. So the springtails will do their bit, and it's a bit of a clean-up crew they are. This is I think it's a peacock fern. And this is a little jewel orchid. Just rearrange it to how you want it. I think this is called an oak leaf creeping fig or something like that. I've got cushion moss as well, which will be going all around. This is called baby tears, I think, or tiny tears, but that might have been a doll in the 80s. This is some sort of begonia, I think. Could be wrong, just comment if I'm wrong. This is the moss. This is quite easy to break up. I'm spraying it there just to keep it moist while I'm planting. Get yourself some of these long tweezers. They're great in the fiddly areas. These are the springtails. I'm putting them in last. Don't want to disrupt them too much, so I'll just put them in last and let them get down to business. I am going to keep some because I'll be doing more terrariums, so it makes sense. It's a bit condensed, so I'm going to wipe the sides of the glass with some kitchen towel. And just drop it round the tweezers to make it a little bit easier, because you don't want to be scratching the glass either. It's quite tricky to get the intricate details in one of these. So this is the first one, so I'm hoping to pick up the tips to use in future builds. It's really starting to take shape now, and I'm liking the way it looks. It takes time to get it right, so at this stage just make sure you're happy with the way it's looking. I'm going to give it a few weeks and then see how it looks. I'm sure the growth will make it look amazing.